Daniel Snyder may be the last person in the world to realize this, but it's just a matter of time until he's forced to do the right thing.
The Redskins patents ripped away.
I'm investigative reporter Russ Batosik with what is in the 177-page decision canceling the Redskins trademark.
I'm Frank Hanrahan. Coming up at 7, I had a chance to talk to some Redskins players about the trademark ruling. Some were happy to chat about it, others were not.
But mark it as a W for some Native Americans. We're going to explain how today's ruling could change the name after 80-plus years. Well, the U.S. Patent Office sacks the Redskins name. And good evening, I'm Jan Jeffcoat.
I'm Derek McGanty. Today, officials canceled 6 trademark registrations owned by the Washington football team. And we've got a full roster of team coverage for you tonight to explain exactly what all this means. Let's get straight to Redskins Park to hear from the men wearing the burgundy and gold. We'll also speak with the lawyer who's representing 5 Native Americans involved in this case. USA Today's Christine Brennan's going to join us live in the studio to discuss the impact on the team and fans. And we're going to hear from a sports marketing expert who knows the ins and outs of this decision and the impact it could have on the entire NFL. But first, let's begin with the basics. Russ Batosik took a look at today's ruling from the Patent Office. He breaks down exactly what's inside.
This is the decision that basically rules that at the time that the Washington Redskins name was trademarked, a significant number of Native Americans considered that name offensive. And we want to warn you, coming up in this report, other names also ruled offensive. The 177-page decision rules against the team under its official name, Pro Football Inc., deciding trademarks using the term Redskins must be canceled because they were disparaging to Native Americans. The ruling includes a history of images, including more recent stills showing the logos on helmets as well as the name on an arrow, a headdress-wearing marching band from the 80s, and in the 60s, cheerleaders called the Dancing Indians. But it doesn't require the team to stop using the term, and the trademark wouldn't be officially canceled until after a judicial review, where experts say there's no clear winner.
I don't know because there's evidence supporting both sides.
Trademark attorney Rusty Briggs says the Patent and Trademark Office has refused other names on similar grounds.
They have. It's unusual. It doesn't happen very often.
USA Today reports the Patent Board has already refused to register 7 other Redskins applications for terms like Redskins Fanatics and Redskins Rooters. The Washington Redskins are not alone. The Asian American band The Slants was denied a trademark on the same grounds, as was another group's effort to trademark the word Hebe, even as a magazine with the same name argued the term was a source of Jewish pride. The team has 2 months to initiate an appeal process that could evolve into years of legal wrangling before a final decision on the trademark. This is not the first time that the name has been challenged and canceled, but previously it was overturned on a technicality. I'm investigative reporter Russ Batosik, WUSA9.
The question, though, what do the guys who wear the Redskins name and logo have to say about today's ruling?
Kristen Brissett joins us now with their reaction. Kristen?
Hey guys, yeah, the players were midway through their second day of mandatory minicamp when word began spreading about the Patent Trademark Office's ruling to cancel the Redskins trademarks. Plenty of you have voiced your opinions on social media, but what do the current players think? Let's head out to Redskins Park.
I'm Frank Hanrahan out here at Redskins Park, where we got reaction after minicamp practice this morning from players about the trademark ruling.
The ruling comes down from the trademark office saying the Redskins' nickname is disparaging. Now it looks like it's going to be this court issue.
That's on them, brother.
Yeah.
I'm a football player.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks, man.
Do you have any comment about what's going on with all? Is this
that's way over my head, man. I can't comment on that, man. Yeah. So.
Yes, it's a sensitive subject for a few of the players after word broke that the trademark office ruling the name Redskins is disparaging. But for some players, they had a bit more perspective.
Our job as players is to focus on what we can on this field day in and day out, and let the legal people take care of that stuff. And when it's the right time, then we can voice whatever it is that we know about the situation.
For all these years, this is how I look at it. For all these years, now it's a problem. That's the only thing I ask myself. And after that, I just leave it alone because I'm wondering what makes it so offensive now than it was when it first generated or whoever brung it up the first time. You know what I mean? So that's what I ask. I don't know. So I'm hoping at the end of the day, whatever happened, it solves the problem, and whoever is offended by it, that they're now no longer offended by it, because I'm pretty sure it wasn't meant that way.
At Redskins Park, Frank Hanrahan, WUSA9 Sports.
Frank, thanks so much. Joining me now, award-winning sports columnist Christine Brennan from USA Today. Christine, you've been pretty outspoken about the Redskins' need to change the name, but this ruling today, how big of a blow is this to Snyder's fight?
I think, Kristen, the biggest part of this story is that it continues. We know, everyone knows that there's going to be this back and forth now. The team has the opportunity to go ahead and appeal, and it could go on for a while. But the fact that this story is not stopping, it's almost as if it's reaching critical mass. I have to say I'm a little surprised. Back in September, October, I wrote a couple columns. I kind of thought it would drop, and it hasn't dropped. Quite the opposite. It's gaining momentum. And when a story does that, it's really the worst nightmare for Dan Snyder, and clearly it's not going away.
Why do you think it is gaining so much momentum? I mean, over the last 18 months, this has really ramped up. And what do you think it is about this?
Well, to your point, all these years we've known this, and it kind of bubbled to the surface every now and then. This time it seems for real. Why? Certainly have 50 senators writing a letter. You have the Oneida Nation people doing much more in terms of their campaign, public relations, the commercials, what have you. I also think you've got a different feeling in our country. Diversity, whatever issues, cultural issues that are out there, seems to be more of a talking point, especially for the younger generation. And obviously, if you're an NFL team, you want to make sure the 20 and 30-year-olds are on board. The grandparents may disagree, but these young kids may have an entirely different view.
And real quick, do you think the name's actually going to change, and how long do you think Snyder will put up this fight?
I do think it's going to change. 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. I don't know. I'm going to say probably between 2 and 5 at this point.
Oh, wow. We had Mike Wise on earlier. He said between 3 and 5. So we got you guys on the same. So we'll see how this all starts to develop. Christine Brennan, we appreciate you coming in as always. Jan, back over to you.
All right, Kristen. The executive director of the National Congress of American Indians and a representative of the Oneida Indian Nation issued a joint statement. It reads in part, quote, "If the most basic sense of morality, decency, and civility has not yet convinced the Washington team and the NFL to stop using this hateful slur, then hopefully today's patent ruling will, if only because it imperils the ability of the team's billionaire owner to keep profiting off the denigration and dehumanization of Native Americans." Well, many Native Americans know it's going to be a long road, especially those who want the name to change. They still believe, though, it's a matter of time.
I'm Sarai Chin in Northwest Washington. Reaction from the attorney in this lawsuit and Native Americans.
Relief, happiness, elation. They can't believe it. They've waited so long. And it finally came today.
Jesse Winton represents the 5 plaintiffs who want the name of the burgundy and gold to change. Today was a huge victory toward that step. Pictured here are 4 out of the 5 Native Americans named in the lawsuit who have waited 8 years for this day. Amanda Blackhorse writes, "It is a great victory for Native Americans and for all Americans. Wilson Pipestem has been fighting the same battle for years."
Very good news. This is a culmination of many, many years of advocacy that's led to a very strong and positive decision for all Native people.
Native Americans know it could be years before the name actually changes, but today's ruling gives them more hope it will happen.
I think it's a matter of time before Daniel Snyder and Roger Goodell decide that there must be a change. And hopefully they will listen to their better angels at some point and make a decision.
In Washington, Sarai Chin, WUSA9.
And Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid called today's move extremely important to Native Americans all over the country.
Well, the senator from Nevada obviously has not been shy about his stance on the name, and on Monday he took to Twitter with this message to the Redskins after inviting him to a game. He wrote, "Thanks for the invite, but I won't consider it until you change the name."
It's racist. Daniel Snyder says it's about tradition. I ask, what tradition? A tradition of racism is all that name leaves in its wake. The writing is on the wall. It's on the wall in giant blinking neon lights.
And Reid also claimed that team owner Dan Snyder bribed a tribe in Nevada to say nice things about the Redskins if he bought them a car. That is his accusation there. Derek?
Well, Jan, D.C. mayoral candidate Carol Schwartz has been pushing to change the name ever since she was on the D.C. Council back in 2001. And coincidentally, we had the independent candidate on WUSA9 News at noon, and she told us she is pleased with what happened today.
I just wish that, I know it's Dan Snyder's team, he owns it, he can make the decision. But why? You know, we've got a great team, we love the team, why not change the name? I mean, they could be the Washington Warriors, the Washington whatever.
Schwartz pointed out how the Washington Bullets changed their name because of growing violence and deadly shootings in the 1990s. Well, we did check in with the other mayoral candidates' Twitter feeds for any sort of statement. Muriel Bowser and David Catania did not issue one, and neither did current Mayor Vince Gray or Marion Barry, the council member from Ward 8 and former mayor. Well, you, however, can take to Twitter tonight in our online poll. We want to know what you think. Should the Redskins keep or change their name? Vote by using the hashtag keep the name or change the name. We have a link posted on the WUSA9 Twitter and Facebook pages. Top.
All right, we're outside on the weather terrace. Another sticky night, but wow, the terrace looks great, though. Johnson's came by and did a nice little planting for us. Here's a look at the heat index. This is why we say don't bother to exercise at night. It still feels like it's 105 in Leesburg. Feels like it's 99 downtown. We'll come back. We'll talk about a cold front that sags southward tomorrow and why we had to issue a yellow alert.
And continuing our coverage right now on this Redskins name change debate. Today's ruling doesn't just affect the Washington team, it also has an impact on the rest of the NFL. A guest in studio next to explain some of the implications.
First, though, here's a Redskins fan cheering. Here are some Redskins fans sharing their thoughts on today's news.
I mean, you know, they should go and change it to, you know, like the Pigskins or, I mean, any other thing besides the Redskins. I mean, I think it's kind of a racist thing myself, so why not change it?
I hope everything changes. I hope the name changes. Everything. I'm all for it.
Well, if that guy gets what he wants, it could be a major disruption and not just for the Skins, but maybe the entire league.
Yeah, so to help us understand the broad impact, we're joined by Georgetown professor and sports marketing expert Jimmy Lynn. Welcome.
Thank you.
So clearly there are two sides to this because there are clearly Redskins fans who do not want to see the name changed. What kind of implications does this have for the league as a whole, though?
Well, I mean, it just depends what happens when the name changes, if it changes. Because, you know, at the end of the day, sports is driven by economics, right? You have to look at this. And when you look at it, the Redskins are the 5th most valuable sports franchise in the world. And think about that. They haven't been in the Super Bowl in over 20 years. So only Manchester United, Real Madrid, the Cowboys, and the Yankees are worth more. And you know, so what happens to the economics of the team if, you know,
but even if the name doesn't change, if the name Redskins begins to carry baggage with it, that there are enough people who consider it a racist name, does that begin to have an impact on the Redskins? Do sponsors begin to say, I don't know if I want to be associated? Exactly right, exactly right. And that's what I mean by it's driven by economics. So what happens to the bottom dollar, right? Why are the Redskins valued at $1.5 billion? It's because of the revenue they're generating from the marketing, but the merchandising also. So what happened? So look what happened to the Clippers situation, right? Sponsors started going away at the team level, so that's affecting the bottom line. And what if the league sponsors started going away? Well, that makes the value of the franchise that much less, and that impacts the team and the league.
So how does this impact other owners then? Will this be a situation where the other owners step in? Because, you know, as we know, Dan Snyder's not changing the name.
Well, you know, you look how the league revenue is split on the merchandising side. So the Cowboys have their own separate marketing deals. The Redskins have been part of the larger league deal. But there are their league deals and there are the specific team deals. The Redskins excel at doing team deals. And so what happens if the sponsors start to walk?
All right, that's what we'll be looking for. Jimmy Lynn, thank you. Appreciating your time today.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Well, it was blazing outside today. It was short sleeve weather, maybe no shirt weather if you could put up with that. But before the temps fall, we get some rain. Dauber's in next, talking storms and yellow alerts.
Yes, I could not do the no shirt day today, unfortunately. But first, here's another Redskin fan's take on the debate that's going on today.
There's no need to change the name, honestly. But the important is how we play, not the name. So then we could have the best name, but if we can't play, it's not worth it.
The only station with weather alert days, WUSA9's first alert weather.
High temperature today, 95 at National. The record high was 97. We were just shy. Live look outside. It's our live Michael and Son weather cam. Plenty of sunshine. It's just rather hot and uncomfortable. It's still 93 at this hour. Dew point 70. That should kind of ring a bell. That's not comfortable. And winds light out of the south-southwest at about 8. All right, the radar over the past 3 hours, we've seen most of the activity in the mountains, most of which have been actually west and north of I-81. We'll zoom in now. Little storm again approaching Cumberland. These are little tiny power pack storms. There's a little bit of orange in there. That's some rainfall rates of about, I'd say about 3/4 of an inch per hour. It's headed off to the south and east, so it should roll through Cumberland shortly in the next few minutes, 7:25. And if it holds together, these have not been holding together well, it could make it all the way down to North Branch. as we get into the 7:31 hour. But they are few and far between tonight. The real headline tonight, we think, is just very warm and muggy again. Temperatures will barely get below 80 in some spots. Yellow alert tomorrow for showers and thunderstorms. Now, I think the morning commute will be dry, but the critical times, 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. So if you're walking to lunch, I would bring your umbrella, and when you're driving home or riding home, you may have to dance around a few showers and storms. The payoff, not as hot or humid on Friday, and I think for the most part it is dry in the metro area on Friday. So here's the future cast, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. No blobs, no clouds, so we're in pretty good shape. By 7 o'clock, still clear in the immediate metro area, but then some showers start to creep up out into Oakland and Cumberland in the mountains, and then by 1 o'clock, some showers peel off to the north, and some more showers still develop off to the west as this cold front begins to sag southward. In fact, by 3 o'clock, pretty good area of showers and storms as you go out Route 7, and also you go out to 66. And then by 4 o'clock, just about everybody has showers, no matter which direction you're headed. And in fact, by 5 o'clock, now we got showers up and down 95, up to 70, out 66 and out 50, and down 3 and 5 into southern Maryland. And then it's been pretty emphatic. This has not changed much over the past a few hours. Pretty good line of east to west showers and thunderstorms at 7 o'clock, so about 24 hours from now as the cold front pushes south. The good news is it will continue to move to the south, and by 10 o'clock we'll be in pretty good shape by tomorrow night. So, muggy start, upper 70s, 82 by 9 o'clock, 85 by 11, and 86 with some showers on our doorstep by 1 o'clock. So, yellow alert tomorrow with storms. Much better on Friday. I'm talking a little tiny showering, but mainly in the Shenandoah Valley. In the metro area, pretty much dry, 84. And then showers and storms on Saturday. That's the bad news. Good news, we only top out in the low 80s. Now, the next 7 days, just an isolated storm on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. A little better chance of storms next Wednesday, and temperatures creep back up to around 90 by Tuesday and Wednesday.
Thank you, Tom. Well, tonight, the San Diego Padres will be playing at home for the very first time since All-Star Tony Gwynn passed away.
The Hall of Famer outfielder was known as Mr. Padre after spending his entire 20-season career with the team, but Gwynn's legacy extends much further than that. In today's Inside Pitch, Holden Kushner talks with the Nationals about how Gwynn impacted their careers.
Tony Gwynn perfected his craft in batting cages like the one here at Nats Park. He also had a profound effect on many members of the Nationals organization, but none more than Steven Strasburg, who grew up a fan of Tony Gwynn as he was raised in San Diego and also played for Tony at San Diego State.
I just remember the first day I was on campus at San Diego State, and one of the first things he said is like, yeah, I'm going to the Hall of Fame this year, but I'm just your coach. And there's so many things that I'm never gonna forget, just my time playing for him.
Gwynn and Strasburg were so tight that Tony flew here to D.C. to watch his students' Major League debut.
He became, a part of my family as well, and he wasn't going to miss that. And I thought it was just such a special experience for my family specifically to be there watching my debut with, this legend, back in San Diego.
Matt Williams played against Tony Gwynn as an intra-division rival. But I asked the Nats manager about playing alongside Gwynn as a National Leaguer in the All-Star game.
Just how good he really was. It was a marvel to see him take batting practice because he could do anything he wanted to do with a baseball. He could take any pitch and hit it wherever he wanted to hit it. So, he's probably the best pure hitter, certainly, of our generation as players, and maybe of all time.
Nats broadcaster F.P. Santangelo played numerous games against Gwynn during his playing career, but it's an early memory that stands out to him.
My rookie year, I lined out to left field for the third out, and I'm standing in between first and second base waiting for my glove. And Tony runs by me with a big smile on his face and says, "Way to swing it, man." And as a rookie, when you have one of the best hitters in baseball tell you that, man, I called my parents as soon as I got home, and I said, Tony Gwynn told me, "Way to swing it." He liked my swing. So that's just the guy he was.
Tony Gwynn will be remembered as a great player, but for those of us who had a chance to talk with him, he'll be remembered as a better man. For WUSA9 Sports, I'm Holden Kushner.
Well, that is it for our news at 7 o'clock. We'll be back at 11.
Make it a great night, everybody.